What up? And welcome to another episode of From the Script to the Screen. No! Damn it all! This is an episode that I've been dreading to do since the season started. Moment of silence for my boy. Episode 18 of season 2, JJK Kaisen, is out now. So as always, first and foremost, gotta give a shout out to the creator, JJK Akutami, and want to give a shout out to the animators at Mappa Studios. As always, another great episode. Want to appreciate them for coming together to give us this great piece of work. This week's episode covers chapters 120 to 122 of volume 14, showcasing the unfortunate death of my boy Nanami, who has the bad luck of running into Mahito after already fighting a couple special grade curses and being severely burned. The episode starts off with them showing him, of course, making his way through the station like we saw last week, and just had some people waiting for him. We know that Mahito is a very sinister cursed spirit. He already has a grudge against Nanami and Yuji, being that he's fought them before and had to run. Something he was teased about at the end of the episode, and we'll also get into that. But like I said, Nanami is already tired, exhausted, and we see that he has a little bit of a flashback where I guess you could say he's just reminiscing about his life and some of the things that he hasn't done, he's looking forward to, and just his outlook on life in general. We know that Nanami's character is very interesting because he's somebody who stepped away from the jiu-jitsu world and ended up coming back after talking with Gojo. We know that they came up together in school and having this sense of feeling like he was needed in the world. Talented sorcerers that actually exercise curses, I would think, aren't necessarily in abundance, like how we saw in the beginning of this whole incident. Some curse users have pleasure in harming other humans, so that's why he always felt like he was needed in the jiu-jitsu world. But he also has a sense of resentment when it comes to the profession, because these are people that put themselves on front lines and might not always necessarily be appreciated for it or even recognized for it. And so Nanami always has a distaste for how fragile life is when it comes to jiu-jitsu sorcerers. And we know that it has no prejudice when it comes to age. And so that's why he always has a soft spot for the young kids and tries his best to try to protect them. And so it's unfortunate that he meets his end, and we see even at his final moments he still has some composure. A touching scene, in my opinion, between Nanami and Yuji, because we do know that jiu-jitsu sorcerers have the capability of becoming curses themselves or just leaving resentment upon their peers. And so Nanami avoids that and just lets Yuji know that even though the road might come to an end for him, hopefully he'd be able to put a stop to what's going on. And like I said before, just try to get a control on things. The jiu-jitsu sorcerers definitely have their backs up against the wall. And so to get into the battle between Yuji and Mahito, we know that Yuji is a little spent himself, but Sukuna did heal him. And so he's kind of more frustrated more than anything at this point and just charges at him. And it's something that Mahito enjoys because we know that he's been looking forward to this battle for a while. And so while they're engaging, we see that Mahito has, like I've said before, matured himself and has learned some new moves. And so why, like I said, shout out to the animators from Mappa, because they, as always, extended the panels beautifully and put their imprint on the fight. And so you just see how Mahito has more control over the souls that he transfigured. And that's just kind of like how they said in the manga, how He's able to delay transfigured humans now, so that he'd be able to use them for attacks in multiple ways. And he can shape their body and even more creativity now, so the actual transfigured humans are a good use for him for multiple things. And the fact that we know this affects Yuji because he feels bad for the people just adds more to it. And something that was cool that Mahito did is what he calls like a body repel, where of course these humans that are transfigured can reject this, and now the bad experiment ends up taking, it's more just like of an outburst, it's just a grandiose explosion kind of. So Mahito just has multiple things up his sleeve now. And so even though Mahito is being careful because we know that he can't necessarily use his body as much, he can't make himself too big of a target for Yuji because we know that Yuji's raw power would take care of him relatively easily. And unlike any other human, he can't touch Yuji because Sukuna's soul would reject him and kill him instantly. So Mahito's kind of in a pickle, but again, we do see that he's able to land a couple blows on Yuji. And to make matters even worse, it's about to become my new slogan for the week. As always, they leave us with a little bit more despair at the end of the episode. As mentioned before, we see that Yuji has a certain weakness to these transfigured humans. And so he mentions how a certain person that we know Yuji cares for would be his ultimate trump card. They leave us with a flashback where Mahito runs into Nobara, and of course they engage in combat. And that's right where they leave us. Even though Nobara appears to hold her own for now, again, we know that Mahito's curse technique is very tricky. The multiple ways that he can attack you cause problems. So hopefully Nobara is good, but we'll see what happens next week. Again, as always, shout out to the animators, man. Been doing hard work in these episodes. It's been a fun season and all the fights have been great. Every single episode is a fight, so appreciate them. And as always, let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Again, rest in peace, Nanami. I know you guys hate Mahito just as much as I do. He is a scumbag.